What's up, guys? We are back, and it's post All-Star Weekend on the next episode of Strops Klat, the podcast where we talk things all Cleveland sports and more. And like I said, we have post All-Star things to get to. I'm Brian.
I'm Timmy.
Let's run it. So this past weekend was All-Star Weekend. Most people do not like it, and I can understand why. It's not the same anymore, and it's played limited basketball. And honestly, I don't understand the celebrity contest. I really don't. What's the point of it?
Yeah, it was pretty. It was like a nap time for me. There was more advertisement time than there was actual game time.
As if Adam Silver's trying to grind out the cash. I mean, come
Right.
on. I don't get it. I know NBA needs to make more to keep up with the NFL ratings, but it ain't gonna happen. They're trying to compete, and it's not gonna work. NFL will win all the time because everybody likes football. I mean, most people like basketball too, but I mean, can you blame them? It's football.
Yeah, I didn't like the new format with the target score and the playoff. I think if they wanted to be successful, they should just go back to the way it was.
And what was that way by chance?
Just a straight up East versus West All Star game. Best teams in the East versus best team in the West.
Kind of like how it was last year when it was played in Indy.
No, I feel like, well, I don't even remember what they did last year because
It
they've been doing that the team captains. I feel like recently.
Yeah, but it was still East versus West. You still got voted in. It's just it was different. I think last year's leader was Giannis. It might have been Halliburton, but I'm not certain. I know it was at Gamebridge because it was in Indy. So as I remember them saying in the player intro, your hometown hero, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm like, okay, whatever. Our hometown hero right now is Donnie.
Yeah,
Speaking of Donnie, Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley competed in the skills contest. And one thing I want to mention before we get onto the Cavs portion, what made CP3 get disqualified for those who did not watch? Chris Paul got disqualified. I don't know if it's because he didn't, like, when he was shooting the
Chris
threes.
Paul and Wemby, they just decided to not shoot. They decided to go into the competition and they thought they found a loophole by just taking the balls and throwing them towards the hoop just to quickly get their shots in. But that was a disqualification.
So it was because they didn't attempt to hit the threes.
Yep.
That's what I thought it was.
Yep.
I couldn't get it at first, and then they like he got disqualified, and people were like, "Cavs only made it because the Spurs got disqualified." Well, maybe true, but still, look what they did. They tried to cheat their way in, and then the rookies, it was Alexar from Washington, wasn't it? I know Ricochet made it from the Hawks. But I think it was Alexar from the Wizards for his
Dude,
teammate.
I didn't know a lot of those rookies.
There was only two, to be fair.
And the All Star team?
I'm talking for the skills.
I thought you were talking about the rookie team.
No. I probably can guess all the rookies. I mean, I know a lot of them, but if I'm being fair, if we had more chance, I would have thrown Tyson in there for the rookies. Look what's happening to him already.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think rookies need to be included in the All Star game. They're not All Stars, they're rookies.
I mean, that's fair, but like you said earlier, Adam Silver's trying to make a quick buck,
They're trying to do anything.
trying to keep the ratings up. I mean, people still watch it, but yeah, I mean, this year was different, and I'll explain why in a minute. But getting onto the Cavs portion. It was Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley at the skills, and our Cavs won. They beat the Warriors, which I don't know why. In the finals, in the competitions, it's always Cavs Warriors, and I find that so funny.
It was awesome watching Donovan Mitchell stand and cheer on the sidelines every time Draymond missed a 3 point in that skills challenge final. It
In
was
the
awesome.
first round or in the
The
final,
finals, the finals. He was cheering him on because he knew he was going to win if Draymond kept missing.
I think Draymond collapsed because in the beginning he was just like, and you could tell because as obviously I'm not trying to be as biased as possible, but I do not like the Warriors. It might be a rivalry thing, but it's whatever. And it's the Warriors as a whole. I mean, let's just be fair. Thank God Steph did not shoot in the 3 point. We all know how that one went. But yeah, and we'll get to the 3 point in a second. But back onto the skills, it was pretty funny because after what was the rookies like 120 and the Cavs first round was like 119, which was funny because we were a second off from losing to rookies. but it's whatever. And then when you noticed with the Warriors too, when they were going, they were like calm and they were actually just there was no time limit. There was nobody to beat. They just had to try to get the best time. And then I think because Draymond made him the first time and then missed at the end, Mobley was the total opposite. And then somewhere it flip flopped, and then Draymond went crazy, angry like he usually does, and punching everything. And then he knocked the balls off after what, one or two misses of trying to like the dribble. You have to dribble and you have to get in the net after. I don't know what to call that part.
Yep.
And then what hit the ball? Was it his fist? Was it his elbow? Like what knocked him off?
I didn't even see.
I think the camera didn't get it, so that's probably fair. And then he was like, miss, 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 went and topped the key, miss, miss. He was going to the other side for the wing, and he ran out of time. And Donnie was just happy because, I mean, obviously it's not the championship, which is what the Cavs' ultimate goal is to try to rebuild and get to that. It's not even rebuild anymore. We actually have everything, and that's something we'll talk about later. Is a report I read, but on the topic of All Star, we're going to move to the 3-point contest, and Tyler Hero is the new champion of that. It was funny because it was Damian Lillard for the last 2 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, which was funny. So at that time, on that day, everyone said three-peats are not possible because when the Chiefs couldn't three-peat, Dame couldn't three-peat, but there is a three-peat that we'll get to later, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But Darius Garland was in the 3-point, and honestly, I thought until Buddy Hield scored over him, I thought he would take the top in the first round.
Yeah, he had a great first round.
24 points. You know what Buddy Hield got?
No.
31.
Crazy.
I think he got. I know he got the one star. I think he got both actually in the second round. And Brunson tried, and then Buddy Hield threw him off because apparently you have to the highest one knocks off the lowest. And everybody thought when Dame would come back, they would knock off Tyler Hero because he was just going crazy at first, and at the end it was miss, 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 miss the story, miss this, and then three-peat didn't happen. People actually made parlays that he would at least go to the final round.
That's crazy.
My mom knew Tyler Hero was a threat because if any of you Cavs fans out there know, when we play the Miami Heat, it goes back to back. Speaking of which, we will be playing the Heat here in 2 weeks on a Wednesday, the 5th. So our episode will come out before that day because of personal reasons. But let's just get to the other half of All Star Weekend. Shaq, Chuck, I forget the girl's name, and who else was in there? Who are the four teams? Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, and I forget the girl's name. Right? I think those were the four.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the Rising Stars. I forget who had that. They had their final All Star call ever. They're no longer calling the All Stars. I don't know if it'll move off TNT into ESPN permanently or if it's going to go on the NBA app, but they had a retirement of that. That's why this All Star was different because they had to pick the teams because they were retiring.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
It was a good run.
and the funny thing was, it says Shaq had signed like 15 mil for I didn't disclose how many a new contract with TNT, and to say that this is the last All Star he's calling, I'm like, what's the new contract for then?
That's crazy.
I guess he'll still be on the show, but TNT will no longer be running the All Stars. I don't know. Maybe it'll be ESPN next year.
Interesting.
It's funny though, and it's I don't know because Charles Barkley. What team did he play for? I know Shaq played for the Lakers.
Charles Barkley was a Houston Rocket.
He was a Rocket.
Yep.
Do you remember what year?
At least 97.
Oh,
know when he hung it up.
I actually don't know. Let me look that up real quick. When did Charles Barkley, as my phone's blowing up about Jameson Williams, we'll get to that in a minute. When did Charles Barkley retire? So Charles Barkley was drafted fifth overall to the Sixers in 1984. And you were right, he did play with the Rockets, but he was drafted to the Sixers.
Word.
we'll discuss Sixers later on because there's a lot of people saying that Joel Embiid should sit down, but that'll be later on. And when did Charles Barkley retire? Yeah, so he was the Sixers from 84 to 92, Phoenix Suns 92 to 96, 96 to 2000 with the Rockets. So, three different teams. He's pulling KD type things. Charles Barkley hung up his jersey in 2002, retiring a Rocket. So, that's the story on Charles Barkley. Obviously, we all know Shaq was a Laker. How many rings did he get again? Like 4 or 5?
Who?
Shaq.
Yes.
Yeah, Shaq attack completely. It's always the Lakers, which is that I never understood that. You had Shaq, you had Kobe. Oh, I know Kobe was with Shaq, and people say Kobe won because of Shaq or Shaq won because of Kobe, vice versa. It doesn't matter who you look at. So if you really can't agree on who did what, if they played at the same time on the same team. Just say that they won it together. Kind of like how LeBron did when he came back here. Michael Jordan has 6, I believe. Did he win any of the rings outside of Chicago, or were they all with Chicago?
Jordan?
Yeah,
They're all Chicago.
of course they are. Because I think that's why, for some reason, I don't know. It obviously football is a different story, and I think that's why my mom likes the Lions because it's the only one not in the division. With baseball, it's the Tigers. In football, it's the Lions, but she doesn't really mind that. And then you got the Pistons in what's the baseball, basketball. And she said that when she was in Detroit watching the Cavs play the Pistons years ago, like when LeBron was first drafted here, she said that Piston fans were toxic. But hey, that's personal to my mom. Any of you from Detroit, I have been to the Motor City. It is phenomenal. And when I went to the Lions game, I actually parked on the same street as Little Caesars Arena in the home of the Pistons. It actually looks nice from the outside. Yeah. And people are even saying that we made a wrong move firing JB because of how good they say you fire a coach.
Kenny's got some incredible results.
Kenny's better, yeah, no doubt. But they're saying we should let a cat. Oh my god, I can't speak.
I mean, yeah, like he had results in Cleveland. He's a good coach. I didn't doubt that.
But they said he had a winning season, so you shouldn't have fired him. You should have downgraded him. The reason they fired him is because he lost the locker room, not because of a bad record or anything. He lost the motivation to the players in the locker room.
Sounds right.
So that's why they got it. Either that or Downey said, I'll only stay if we get a new coach. Either he lost Downey's trust and he pulled LeBron or all of them. I feel like J.A. said something about he lost the locker room and it wasn't just Downey, but people believe what they have to believe. And either way you look at it, you technically didn't lose him ever in the locker room. On top of that, it's your all time star. And there is some news that I got about 30 minutes ago, guys, for all you viewers. As we all know, the Browns are in a bad cap situation. And this offseason, you're going to have to unload some people to save the cap. Well, with Miles trying to pull Jimmy Butler type situations, there is rumors of trading him, and then they're like Andrew went like, no, I don't want to get rid of him. But something must have happened between now and between Super Bowl weekend and now, because Andrew Berry is changing his mind to saying, well, I'm not 100% on it, but stay tuned. As if Miles is trying to bargain with Andrew Berry. But according to Adam Schefter, he says you would have to trade him after the draft, which statistically, according to Over the Cap, the website used for monitoring team cap space, is actually pretty valid because if we traded Miles right now, we take a 25 million cap hit. And yeah, sorry for the big inhale, guys. I just tried to do all that in one setting. And then you have now, like I said, $25 million cap hit, and then 5 million after June 1st when preseason starts. So I don't know if he takes most of his chunk in 24, and you can't take the 25 until after preseason. But whoever you give him to, you're gonna get a first rounder.
I still don't want to get rid of him.
We don't, obviously. He can still play 25 here. We know what's going to happen. He's going to pull Jimmy Butler.
I would hope not.
Well, I think that's what Andrew Berry is trying to say. Happen after June 1st, not only for Cap, but to see if he actually still wants to have any chance because if Miles wants to be on a good team, he's gonna have to perform. But if he performs, Andrew Berry's not gonna want to get rid of him. So it's a lose lose for Miles. You either perform and you get to a team that wants you, or you don't do anything. You lower your draft. Not the well, Andrew Berry's draft pick, resume or whatever you want to call the deal, and you have to go to a team desperate. I mean, Washington is the best option statistically, but there are rumors of him going to Dallas, which makes no sense because you already got Micah Parsons, or Seattle because Bobby Wagner went
All of
to.
those options make me sick.
Why? I'll give you the Dallas one, but
I just don't want to hear Miles Garrett in anything but a Cleveland Browns uniform.
which is sad because he's also part owner of the Cavs.
Yeah, that's facts.
Bro said he wanted to live his life in Cleveland. And here's another problem. Denzel from my hometown of Northfield, go Knights and Nordonia as a whole. We have news that Denzel Ward says he wants to play with Miles. So if Miles leaves, you have the risk of Denzel leaving. And JOK said to stay here. And Joku said to stay here. Everyone's staying here because of Miles. You lose Miles, and you probably lose half the team.
It was at this moment that I found out I was high school rivals with Brian.
What?
I went to Mayfield, so I played Denzel in high school. He, my junior year, he was the only team that beat us in the opening game in overtime, and then in the state quarterfinal.
Oh, that's right, because you're way after. But
Yeah,
did you play on the football team?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, no way. What position?
yeah. I was offensive line.
Oh, God.
Yep. And then at halftime, I was playing the marching band. I would take my helmet off and join the drum line.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Not only am I doing this podcast with a friend, apparently I'm doing with a football player. So talk about Strops Klat being the podcast for Cleveland sports and more, because we're literally in our area of Cleveland, and we literally have a football player in the room.
Facts.
And it's just too funny, because even I didn't know that.
Wild. Yeah.
You never told me, and
Yeah.
I've known you for 2 years.
That's so funny. Nordonian Knight. That's awesome.
Do you remember how? This is just off the topic of sports, but since you went to Mayfield, do you remember how many seals you got on your diploma?
No,
I think I
no.
had 6.
I could check. That's cool. Awesome, man.
We'll do that off because this is Strops Klat where we talk sports.
Yeah, sports talk. Strops Klat.
There is okay. Oh, there. 8 minutes ago, the Detroit Lions said Jamison Williams will not face discipline for his concealed weapon incident, which I don't think I've ever heard of this. And Detroit's a really good city. I haven't. Obviously, people say there's crime there, but Chicago's a crime capital. According to ESPN, as it's blowing up right now, salary cap is going to be increasing to 277.5 million, so that'll lower the cap. But it says Detroit Lions wide receiver Jamison Williams will not face discipline from the NFL for carrying an unlicensed gun under concealed carry laws. Obviously, Michigan's laws are different, and it makes no sense because I could have sworn Michigan is a open carry state. But nah, we're in Ohio. Everything's different. Jamison Williams, at age of 23, avoided criminal charges for the gun discovered by the cops during a traffic stop. So in Ohio, if you get pulled over and you have concealed carry, you have to tell the police that you have a weapon in the car, and then they have to do your check outside just to be safe. But apparently, Jamison Williams did not do that, and they discovered a gun in his car, which honestly makes no sense because if Mike Hall can get allegedly caused for abuse, which never happened with a gun or anything, ends up on the commissioner's list, why would this dude who actually had a gun not end up on the commissioner's list? It makes no sense.
We'll see how the story develops.
But yeah, it's still early. ESPN just said that literally as my phone blew up. And then on top of that, like you probably just heard in the background, the salary cap is going to 277.5 million this year. And it's between that and 281.5 million. So it's probably going to be in the middle at 279, probably right there in the middle. It's two in between. I mean, you already have the point 0.5. which honestly for the Browns would help a lot because that would probably take the 20 was it not 20 33 million cap hit that we're doing, take it down by to 23 by an extra 10, which yeah, you can avoid that. And that's one more thing we're going to talk about right now before we end this episode. Greg Newsome is a high trade candidate for this year's draft because the fifth year option. Regardless of we trade him now or after, the cap hit's going to remain the same because it's the fifth year. It's not a new contract.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
I honestly don't know because I like our corners, but we also have other corners that need to come out, which apparently we lost one because Naheem Hines just got terminated for not playing for the last 2 years, which I guess was a part of his contract. I guess it was a clause. You have to play a certain amount of time, or at least a game, and he never did. So he got terminated. But if we lose Greg Newsome, a first overall, not the first overall, first rounder, excuse me, he I would at least say give us at least if we get a third for Coop with the stats he had. Sure, he's no MJ Emerson or Denzel, but I still think Greg Newsome can at least get us a third, maybe a second if we're lucky. But that's probably not that high.